He's got signed baseballs by Babe Ruth,
Yeah.
Sandy Koufax, Jackie Robinson, Hank Aaron, all these guys. A Cy Young Award. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Jeez.
And he's like, none of this amounts to a hill of beans. What matters to me is my family. And it was just like, it was crazy. And so like that moment, man, it was just like, it was humbling.
Yeah.
It's inspiring. But I almost felt like this little itty bitty like responsibility to share this with people.
Yeah.
And so after that, it was just like, I just want to find stories that kind of time has forgotten
Yeah.
about people that have done cool things,
Yeah.
and hopefully other people get inspired from it.
Well, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thanks, bro.
Have you watched any of these before?
I have, yeah.
Whose have you seen?
Jack, James, Zane.
All the guys.
Yeah,
All the
guys.
boys.
Yep, the boys.
Way cool. Well, that's how I know you. I just see you in all their content and you reposting their content. And
Yeah.
And you guys are together a lot recently, it seems like.
Yes.
Especially Zane. Like, he's kind of a new one in your crew, right? Because you've been working with James for so long.
Yeah, I mean, like in this role that I've been on, like I've tried to get James out first because he's a camera op.
Yeah.
And then when we were able to expand it to directors and we actually brought out Zane first. So we've been working with Zane on these things. He came out probably like 1 or 2 months before Jack. So
Nice. And Jack is there just to hang, or
no, just,
he's just a good hang?
yeah, he's our music guy.
Oh, is he? That's what?
No, he's
not
the
really.
director.
Not really. Because I know he's a music guy, but
Yeah.
Zane was telling me last time you guys went, it was so much fun, and Jack was just on like another level of funny.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like, man, every time I see Jack, I'm like, you've got to show that and give us like, go do a YouTube channel, man, because he's hilarious.
Oh, he is.
So anyway, that's kind of our mutual connections. But if you know the format, this is about you. This is your story. This is your journey. And I want to document it for your own sake, just so you can one day look back with the family and just be like, look, this is what your dad does.
That's pretty awesome, man.
So anyway, let's start with who you are.
Sure.
And just tell me about what you do as a filmmaker / producer mostly.
Cool.
Correct?
Yeah.
Cool.
Brandon Crow, born and raised in Southern California. And I currently am a features producer / sports producer at BYUtv.
Cool. And how long have you been doing that?
I've been in this role since September 2022, so it'll be coming up on 3 years.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And how did you get into that? We'll get to the like journey of how you got into that, but like right now, as far as like 3 years ago when you got into that, you had experience in the past, I'm sure, but like, did someone hit you up? Was this a role you were shooting for? Goals? Did it just happen? Like, tell me about that, how this position came to be for you.
Sure, dude. Wild journey. So a couple years ago, so circa, this time 2022,
Yeah.
I was working for the state of Utah, and I was helping people get their food stamps and their Medicaid.
No way.
Yeah. And that was crazy. I started that job in 2019, so it was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
I was there during the pandemic, helping people get all their stuff, being blamed for all sorts of stuff, kids being hungry or whatever. And
Dang, it's your fault.
yeah, it's all my fault. And so lots of prayers of trying to find a way to get out of there, to get into a full-time broadcast position in some capacity so that I can be able to use the skills that, I went to school for.
Yeah.
And I had different opportunities pop up and nothing came through. And then I got COVID a couple times. And after I got COVID, I suffered from like anxiety really bad to the point where I've been on medication for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
And when I used to work at BYUtv as a student, one of the guys there, Spencer Linton, he's like one of the main hosts of the show Sports Nation and stuff. We were really close. Cool. And so I saw an article that he had COVID really bad, where he like needed help with breathing. Essentially, he had like a little machine that was helping him out.
He wasn't on a ventilator yet, was he?
He wasn't quite there, but he like still needed something.
Yeah.
And he's in his 30s, and it's like, geez,
That's crazy.
and so I kind of like tried to dabble in the little podcast thing, and because I'd done sports radio, and so I tried to reach out to different people, and just to find their inspiring journeys, whatever. And so I reached out to Spencer. Love Spencer, but he takes a while to get back, and so I reached out to him to see if he could be on a guest on the podcast, probably in April of 2022, and then he hits me back up in like June and he said, "Hey, dude, so sorry about the delay. Let me know if you still want to do it. But also, have you applied for this producer job?"
Yeah.
And I was like, no, didn't even hear about it. And so I took a look at it, and I've been praying, like I said, and I've been doing on-air stuff. Like I call games for UVU. So I'm an on-air announcer. I do their soccer, basketball, volleyball, stuff like that. And I've been ideally looking for, a broadcast position. But in my head, I was like, you know what? I feel like the Lord's throwing me a bone here.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to turn this opportunity away. And so I looked at the thing, said, features, little videos, things like that. And I was like, yeah, dude, I feel like I could do this. And so I threw my hat in the ring, and I was like, all right, we'll see what happens. And next thing you know, they called me back, and I did an interview with my former supervisor and then another coworker of mine. So like I knew everybody there, and I just went through the interview process. They called me up at the end of August and told me I got the job, and the rest is history.
So cool. And did you prepare yourself? I have to imagine like you had a pretty sweet resume for them to want to hire you in this position. Like, did you do things like this before? Because it sounds like you were doing other things. How did you land the job?
I mean,
this is kind of teasing your journey.
Yeah.
We'll get into detail. Like, I'm just curious.
It is. Honestly, bro, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like so my senior year at BYU, so I was a broadcast journalism major. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I wanted to be in sports broadcasting. And so my senior year, they usually would have on our final capstone, if you could go two different routes. Yeah. You could either be a producer and produce like the live little news show that we would have behind the scenes, or we would do a reporter. And if you were a reporter, then you'd have to come up with a story, you'd have to shoot it out and all that stuff. But as luck would have it, my senior year, they decided to change something up, and they decided to open it up for documentaries.
Cool.
And I, love like the ESPN 30 for 30s, all those things. And so
the first time I met you was your documentary you did with James.
Yeah. So
and you guys put it up on the big screen, which was cool to see.
Was that the football?
It was a showing, that you guys did. I can't remember which theater, but I knew James from school, UVU, and then you guys had been working on that documentary. It was about the parents that have been watching the games. They're like diehard.
Yeah. So before we did that one, I did a documentary as my senior capstone project on Vern Law. He's a local legend in Provo.
Vern?
Yeah, Vern Law.
I totally know who he is.
Yeah.
He, wow, total aside. I think this is the same guy, but Sean Brenchley is like his mentee, and he brought Vern in for I think it sounds familiar. It could be the same guy, but he's an old timer that's like a BYU guy.
Yes. So, but he was a baseball player.
Okay.
So he played for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Okay.
He won the World Series in 1960. Won the Cy Young that year.
Cool.
He came on to coach at BYU for a little bit, but his son Vance was a coach and played in the majors as well. And then his grandson Adam was a BYU baseball player, and at the time was playing in the minor leagues.
Okay.
So I had like this generational thing, and again, me growing up being a diehard sports guy, I was like, oh, dude, this would be killer.
Yeah. And
so we did a documentary on that. And then after I did that, I was like, dude, something happened inside of me where something was woken up, or I found something that I just didn't know was there. And throughout the process of making the documentary with James, Jack did the score in one night. I mean, freaking crazy. But after doing that, I was like, dude, I want to do another one. And so that's where I had the idea to do the documentary about like the families with season tickets.
Yeah.
And so had
total passion projects, right?
Yeah, dude, total passion project, super guerrilla. Like nobody would give us help. Like I reached out to BYU saying, hey, I'm an alum, I want to do this, like crickets. And so to like get into the games, to find the families to shoot the footage, my friend Steven, he owned Chip Cookies at the time, and they were delivering in stadium. And so he like put our names down as like Chip employees.
Very cool.
And he gave us shirts. And so we would film them delivering cookies, but then we'd just go and we'd film the families. It's like, that's how we did it.
That's amazing.
So it took us a couple of years to put that together. But then after that, it was just like, dude, I want to keep doing this. And so when I was at UVU, I just took it upon myself. Like I had like a little camera I borrowed from James, like his Lumix or something.
Yeah.
And I went to practices and I was doing like little behind the scenes practice footage / little interviews with like the soccer team. So I was just doing all this on my own because like nobody else was going to help me out.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think the fact that I had 2 full-length documentaries under my belt, plus all this other stuff, plus the fact that I hadn't been working there at BYU, and I was able to go out and get real experience, like I think they like that. So
yeah, I imagine, especially because nowadays I always harp on this, but it's like so hard to find people that are just doing things and making it happen, especially like
totally.
You just totally going in as a chip employee and making those shoots happen. Was James a part of those?
Yeah, James
was never told me he was wearing a chip shirt.
Oh yeah. I got a picture of me and James. We had a chip t-shirt on. We were just rolling around with cameras.
Because that's how me and James became friends, was we both wanted to get into sports. Like we'd love to shoot sports.
Okay.
And so we met each other in the UVU broadcasting class, and we shot camera together, never directed or anything, just both cam opt. And then that's actually where I met Zane as well.
Cool.
I took it 3 times because I loved it, but then I ended up steering in a different direction once I went to YouTube. But that's super cool, man. And I love the fact that you're just making things happen, because that's one of the things that fascinates me about these podcasts is some people things just kind of happen because they're really fun and awesome.
Sure.
But then there's people like yourself that are, not that you're not fun and awesome, but like you're in the trenches, like making things happen. You're making opportunities happen versus just like kind of waiting for things, which is why I asked that question. Did you were you prepared for that interview / job? And you did.
Yeah.
You prepared yourself.
I totally feel like I was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was interesting because, you know, some of the interviews, interviews are always crappy, dude. Like, you know, you just get this brief little window, and if somebody's having a bad day or a bad lunch, you know, their view of you can be tainted.
Yes.
But
I've heard some stories from some of your guys' interviews that are just rough.
Oh yeah.
And you, like Zane's like, I have to bring it out of them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I felt like, I mean, something went right. So.
That's very cool. And so tell me about what you do specifically, like some of the gigs you're doing. Because I've seen some of them, but anyone listening won't know. So like your position at BYU, what does that consist of?
For sure. So as a features producer, we have different features that BYU does, BYUtv specifically. And so if anybody's familiar with BYUtv Sports, they have this little series called Deep Blue, which is like a little mini 30 for 30 E60 type thing within the BYU athletic realm. So what they do is, for example, right now we are prepping for the fall for football stories. And so we have a crew, Travis Moore and his Mango Media team. They are contracted with that. And so we meet with them, we meet with athletics, and we say, hey, we got X amount of stories that we want to tell this year. So like 12 stories. Based off of the current football staff that you guys have now, plus some other alumni, what are some stories that you guys want to tell? And so then we meet with them. They give us names, like a ton of names. Then we go through, Travis goes through any pre-interviews just to try and see if there's an actual story there.
Yeah.
Then him and his crew, they divide it out, and then they go and they once they narrow down the 12, they go and they shoot them out. And then I'm more of an executive producer with that role, where they will send me and then my other colleague, Ben Bagley, the videos, and we go through, we give them notes, and then we whittle it down until we like it, and then we send it off to post. They get it ready for air.
Very cool.
But the main thing that I do with like Zane, James, and Jack is our big stories. So a couple of years ago when BYU made their transition into the Big 12, as like a welcoming gesture / a clean slate for people to get their eyes on BYU, we wanted to extend an olive branch essentially, and to really lean into one of the mottos of BYUtv, which is to see the good in the world. And you think about sports and how it's like, you sit in the stands and you hear people just say all like these crazy things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, dude, we're all humans. Like, just because they have a different colored jersey on, you know, doesn't mean we have to treat them like crap.
Totally.
So we look at BYU's football schedule, and what I'm in charge of is I look at the schedule and I see who they're playing, and I try to find an inspirational, uplifting story that revolves around either a current player or like a former player or coach that went to that university, and we do the E60 thing with them. And so trying to shoot 12 stories in the summertime.
Nice.
It's pretty wild.
And this is one of them. Do you know is this one of them?
Oh yeah, the Folds of Honor one. Yeah. So this is dude, the technology in here is pretty rad.
We like to pull things up and just kind of riff on whatever you got going here.
Yeah, so this is one we did a couple of years ago when we played the University of Kansas.
Okay.
And so this guy, Lieutenant Colonel Dan Rooney.
No way.
Yes.
Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan.
That's amazing.
So he was an alumni of Kansas. And so he played on the golf team. And I, again, being a sports guy, I'd seen all these Folds of Honor commercials. And so I looked into it, and I was like, dude, what is Folds of Honor? And I found out that he went to Kansas and played golf at Kansas.
Oh, nice.
And so then I, Googled and searched and tried to find contact info. So we reached out to his people, his team, and they were super stoked that we would want to come and do a story on him. So then we, arranged everything, went out there, and we did a story on him and all the good that he's doing with his foundation. So for those of you that don't know, Folds of Honor, what they do is it's a scholarship-based program, but you can help give money. They help raise money for college education to the family members of veterans who have died in battle.
Cool.
And they've expanded it to servicemen and women and first responders as well.
Nice. So you're not necessarily interviewing BYU players. You're actually looking for the opposite.
Exactly.
And that's even if they're alumni, or do you do current players as well?
Yeah. It's a little tricky with current players now with
I think that was your guys' last shoot, right? It seemed like one of those guys was a little younger and he was in a locker room. Beautiful image.
Yeah. So that this is another one too, Joey Sua.
That's cool. I love that you're showing the other side of it, because like you said, we can be total jerks as fans and not care who's on the other side because they have a different color, but it's like, man, they're just dudes and whatever.
Yeah, like this kid here, Joey, he's a lineman then at Arkansas, but now he transferred to Arizona State. But he was deaf in his left ear, so he had a cochlear implant, and he's an offensive lineman. Yeah. And so it was crazy to hear about his journey and everything. And
are these ones recent, or
this is from a couple years ago? Okay. So we started this at right when I got in at 2022, they had experimented with like a couple schools, and then we went full bore in 2023. And so this is from 2023, and so the deep blue stuff, that's specifically BYU.
Got it.
And then the big stories are other schools that BYU plays.
Cool. That's awesome. And I heard, or one of the ones that stands out to me, I hadn't watched it, but the Oscar Robertson one.
Yeah.
How was that? Tell me, like, you got any good stories from that interview?
Okay,
talking about it. It sounded pretty. Zane kind of touched on it a little bit, but that's like a legend. Like, is that probably one of the bigger interviews? I mean,
as far as the name goes, yeah, obviously, dude. Like,
knows that,
it was crazy. I mean, obviously, with my job of being at BYUtv in the sports side, and with the stuff that I've done before that, like, you have to find a way to compartmentalize and to separate your fandom and to just be, in the business mode, right? Yes. And so, but as soon as I saw that we were playing Cincinnati and it was for a basketball game, I was like, okay, dude, I gotta try and see if I can find a whole Oscar Robertson.
Yeah.
So I reached out, and sometimes, dude, it's like I'm going as far as like slide into people's DMs to try and get people to respond.
No way.
And so this whole thing was just wild, bro. Like, so here's the legend himself, Oscar Robertson, and so we got a hold of his agent essentially, and his representative, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. So he got me in touch with him and his daughter Mari, and so that's him right there. That's Julian, and that's his daughter Mari. And so then we decided that he was going to be in Vegas for like this NBA event. It was like a special tournament that they were going to have there.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to go down there and capture him in Vegas. And so Julian was like, hey, I'm staying at this hotel. I know the guy who's in charge of like getting rooms and stuff booked. So we can get Oscar. And so he's like, we can also get in touch with the NBA. He's going to be at the game. We can try to film. long story short, we get there, and I went to a website which I thought I applied for credentials. I show up to get my credentials, and they're like, no, dude, we don't have any of your information.
Oh my gosh.
And so then I turned around. I was like, okay, well, who can I talk to? This is what we're doing. So then I got in touch with this NBA rep, and he was like, okay, these are what our options are, blah, blah, blah. And long story short, dude, they wouldn't let anybody go into the NBA game.
They're all there.
We're all there.
No.
So they wouldn't let us film or anything. And so luckily Julian, his agent, was like, hey, I'll take some videos on my phone for you, whatever. And so then we went to the hotel that he was staying at, which was part of the Venetian, I think.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, you can film in our hotel room. It's going to be $3,000, all this stuff. And I was like, what?
Cool. Just slip them $3K.
And so we're like, no, I can't do that, man.
Yeah.
So then luckily we, again, just our boy Zane, he has all these coins. He gave me a coin, Marcus Aurelius, obstacle is the way.
Yeah.
And so just find another way, right?
Problem solving, man. That's
Yeah.
probably your main thing you do every day. Just run into walls and how you get over them and around them.
Exactly. So we ended up interviewing him at the Planet Hollywood Hotel.
Yeah.
In a random room next to like the Chris Angel Theater. And because it was a Sunday, there wasn't hardly any traffic in there. And we were able to like get in this room in this hallway. So that's where he interviewed this hallway.
It's like a hallway, and you just kind of like, don't walk yet.
Yeah.
Stay back.
So luckily there were doors behind us.
Oh,
so we
nice.
were able to have those doors closed. But, Oscar, like, I don't know what he's been through. I don't know what he's seen. But it was a different interview than what we wanted.
Yeah.
And
that's what Zane told me. It kind of came out, it totally took a turn, but then it came out to be one of the best stories. Am I right?
yeah, I mean, like that's the magic and the beauty of these things is that oftentimes you think about, okay, I always try to collaborate with our director. So with Zane, with Jack, or whoever it is. And we do a ton of research ahead of time. And so then we give ourselves like a little backbone, little skeleton of a story.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, I think this is the direction that we want to go. I can't wait to ask about this. And then when we get there, it's like, oh,
You can't ask me.
we're not going to do this? Okay, we're going to do this? All right. And then we end up finding a different story. And so I guess at the time, his daughter was in the talks with somebody else about possibly doing a documentary.
Yeah.
So she was afraid that we were going to try and take over. And we said, no, we just want to focus on his faith and on his time at Cincinnati. Like,
Yeah.
we're not trying to tell his whole life story.
Yeah.
And so she was like, okay, that's fine. But then, she was nervous. And I think her being there, she wanted to sit like right next to us during the interview. And there was a couple times where he would try to say something and then she would like cough or something. And so I don't know if they had like a conversation beforehand where like some stuff was off limits.
Yeah.
But anyway, Zane and I, like he did his best.
Yeah.
And he was asking questions and some of the answers weren't the best that he gave. And so then we just had to go around it. But the saving grace with this one was his former teammates and coaches that we interviewed, and we were able to get some great stuff out of there.
Cool.
But no, just being able to sit down and interview a legend like Oscar Robertson.
Just to be in his room, the same room.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And,
It's cool.
And then as a sports fan, talking to him. We tried to get Kareem, but that was a crazy story too.
Cool.
His agent wanted money. She said, I don't give away Kareem's time for free.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, we're nonprofit. Like,
Yeah.
I can't give you money.
Yeah. That's crazy. And one of the other cool things I think about, because obviously you, James, I don't know about Jack, are all big sports fans. This guy, like Zane shows up and he's like, are we here to talk about football? Oscar Robertson? No. But it's like he comes at this like, he's super green, doesn't even know who he's talking to, but which is authentic, and he's able to just talk to them as a human and not like a starstruck interviewer.
And that's why I wanted to bring Zane and Jack on.
Yeah.
And I tell Jack all the time, I said, look, I'm here for your support. I said, I try to view myself as like a point guard in basketball.
Yeah.
And so I'm here to give you the rock and to let you do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be able to help provide my directors and my crew with all the tools that they need so that we can be able to tell the story the best way possible. And so I tell Jack, so just recently, me and Jack got done filming in Orlando doing a football story on Latavius Murray, who'd been in the NFL for like 10 years. And then Jack, he's always doing this thing, like, man, I don't really know sports, man.
The Jack voice.
And I'm like, dude, you do you. And I bring you in because you're not focused on the sports. You're focused on the person.
Yeah.
And that's what I want these stories to be, is to peel back those layers. Yeah. And I don't want this to be a barrage of stats or anything like that. But, yeah. And so that's the way I like to cultivate, is that Jack and I, we come together for an interview. Same with Zane. So for Oscar, Zane knew who Oscar was, but it was funny. Like, he was like, "Oh, dude, I was telling my business partner, or I was telling my dad," and like, "What? You're interviewing Oscar Robertson?"
He's like, "What should I know about him?"
Exactly. And so I said, "Hey, just focus on what you want to focus on, and then I'll be there to back it up with different things."
Yeah.
And so when we do our interviews, Zane and Jack, they'll sit there in their director spot, and then when they're done or if they're stuck, they'll say, "Brando, what do you got?" And so I've been keeping notes, and then I'll come in and I'll ask different questions.
Cool.
And so it's kind of like a tag team. And then based off of my questions, sometimes it might spur different questions from the directors, or we might go a different way. But
yeah. So ultimately, in a nutshell, your position, you're a problem solver. You're an assistant. You're a helper. You're a do all jack of trades and make sure the shoot goes as well as possible. Yeah. And the vision's been spoken about.
Totally.
Yeah.
Producer, showrunner, whatever you call it. I don't know. I'm nowhere near this level, nor will I ever be. But Jerry Bruckheimer is a guy that I just kind of look up to, producer of movies, and he called himself essentially like a collector.
Yeah.
And that's how I try to view myself too. Is that like when I come up with the stories and I see like, okay, what director do I feel like would help best tell this story? Mm-hmm. And then I divide it out and I say, okay, Jack, Zane, Tim, Matt, Travis, you guys are going to take these 2 stories each. And I think to myself, like, okay, how are Jack or Zane or Tim's strengths going to benefit this story? Mm-hmm. And what do they need from me so that they can be able to do what they need to do? And then I just sit back and let the magic happen. That's cool. And that's like the funnest part.
Yeah. And I said all those things not to downplay what you do, more just to help people understand the role of a producer, like an executive producer, right? You're the orchestrator. You're the guy that puts the pieces in place and says, go. Now spread your wings.
Exactly.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, that was a lot on what you're doing, and I think that's the most important part, is where you're at currently. I want to just dial it back to the beginning now, and I'm curious, like, where it started for you. Did you want to be a filmmaker? Did you want to go down this space? Did something as a child spark that interest, or was it a little older? Where did it start for you?
Dude, that's such a great question. And the short answer is no. I never wanted to be a filmmaker.
Interesting.
Like, that was never in my realm of thinking.
Yeah.
Growing up, I fell in love. I'm a big music guy. I was a DJ in high school and everything for like 10 years. And so growing up, I used to sit in my room and I used to listen to the radio. I used to listen to Dodger games, Laker games, Kings games, but then I would listen to the radio and make mixtapes. And so I was like, oh yeah, dude, being a radio DJ would be rad.
So you sat with your tapes, right? And
oh yeah, I had
the song came on, record.
Yep, I had a boombox and on Saturday nights, I was kind of like an older soul, and so I loved like R&B, disco, funk, stuff like that. And so K-Big 104 outside of LA would have disco Saturday nights. Yeah. And I would sit there and I'd just be like in my room on the floor, throwing my baseball up in there, and as soon as it would come on, back from a commercial break, I'd put my blanket set in there, and I get ready and I try to listen to see what song was coming on, and I hit record, do all that stuff.
Dude, all of our tapes back then were like the coolest intros because it had a little bit of the DJ and then start, and it was like, and you finally got it. Like, that's the song. This is gonna sound ridiculous, but I mean, we're probably the same age. I don't know. I'm 35.
I'm a couple years older.
Okay, so Britney Spears.
Yeah, for sure.
When she was hot when we were younger, and when her songs came on, me and my cousins were like waiting all day. Oh my gosh! Push record, and we'd get ourselves some mixtapes. Green Day was a big one. Anyway, that's what's the word? Nostalgia, right there.
Totally, dude.
Pure. So keep going. You wanted to be a DJ.
Yeah. So I wanted to be a DJ. And then I think right around 9 or 10 is where I really just fell in love with the art of storytelling from my beloved sports broadcasters I listened to. Yeah. For the Dodgers, it was Vin Scully, and for the Kings, it was Bob Miller, and for the Lakers, it was Chick Hearn. And when I listened to their games, it was like they were like part of our family. Yeah. And so when we would sit down for dinner, it was like, hey, did you hear that story that Vin said last night during the game about, Jackie Robinson ice skating? Or did you hear Chick Hearn when he was talking about being on the road with Kareem and Magic, whatever? And so it's like they became part of our family. And I felt so much joy listening to those guys that I wanted to be able to be a sports broadcaster, to be a voice of a team, and to be able to help provide that for somebody else.
Yeah.
And so right then and there, I was like, I'm going to be a sports broadcaster. And so initially I was like, maybe ESPN, whatever, but that's what I set my heart on, and that's all what I wanted to do. And so in my head, I graduated high school when I was 17, and I had a whole year before I left on my LDS mission. And so I went to junior college because I wanted to get all my science and math stuff out of the way. And so I did that, and I took a ton of journalism classes.
Cool.
And I grew up loving Sports Illustrated. I had a subscription to Sports Illustrated for kids. When I got older, it was Sports Illustrated, and I would just consume and devour the articles. And so I just wanted to be in that sports broadcast world. And honestly, dude, like, it wasn't until I came to college. So after I came home from a mission, the school I was going to, the junior college, COC, College of the Canyons, they like revamped their program. And so if I wanted to continue, I would have had to start clean. I was like, I don't want to do that. And my mission president was like, hey, before you go home, throw an application to BYU. Never have I ever thought about going to BYU. Never wanted to come up to Utah. No offense or anything. It's just
Where did you live?
I lived 30 minutes north of Los Angeles.
Oh, I didn't know. I don't know if you mentioned that. That's cool. I didn't know you came from California.
Yeah, born and raised Southern California guy.
Nice.
And so,
that's where I was from.
Cool. Where at?
She's south of LA. Did you say south or north?
I'm north.
Okay, so she's south of LA. You've never heard of it, Wildomar.
Okay.
You know where Lake Elsinore is?
Yeah, totally.
It's literally, if you're driving on, I'll say the 15, just because that's what you guys say. The I-15, you go to San Diego, and it's like 45 minutes north of San Diego, right off the freeway.
Cool.
Wildomar. Murrieta, right next to it.
Murrieta.
Anyway.
Great.
Yeah.
Motocross capital USA.
Yes. We actually, so my family's super into it. Sorry, I keep going off on tangents. We love motocross. We went to that track just last year.
The Fox headquarters?
Well, we did go to that one as well, that same trip. That was for a race, but then we went and rode at the Temecula.
Oh, rad.
And it was a really sad, because that was the day it like got shut down. Did you hear about that?
Oh, yeah.
So the little girl had passed away, and then the whole place just shut down. And I think someone just barely a year later had purchased it, and they're trying to reopen it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, motocross town, man, for sure. And Haley, like, my wife never grew up, had anything to do with it. But anyway, you're from 30 minutes north of LA.
Yeah.
And you didn't ever think to apply to BYU?
No, never thought about it. So when I came home, threw an application, didn't get in. So I was like, cool, there's my sign. And then I transferred to CSUN, Cal State University Northridge, and I was gonna get my degree there, and then hop on in to try and work at Fox Sports. And
so you're still trying to be a broadcaster?
Oh yeah,
that's like the goal.
Broadcasting is the goal, man.
Way cool.
And
is it color or analytics?
So I do play-by-play.
Or sorry, color or play-by-play. That's it, right?
Yeah, so color, over the last like 10, 15 years, they've really made an emphasis. It's like former players or former coaches. And so I'm, again, in that play-by-play role, very similar to a producer, you are kind of like the point guard.
Yeah, you're driving the ship.
Yeah, you're watching the game, and then you set up your color commentator for like, hey, analyze, like what how did this happen, you know?
Yeah.
And so CSUN, being a great California state-sponsored school, they had budget cuts. So teachers weren't getting the pay they wanted, and us students weren't getting the classes that we wanted. So it was just a mess, dude. But during that time, my aunt was working at Fox Sports, and so in Fox Sports in Southern California, they cover high school sports. Like, it's huge. They have their own separate channel for it. So she invited me to this Fox Sports event that they were having before the high school football season. And I was doing some high school football stuff on the radio with my buddy Kyle. And so she got me like a press badge, everything. I was there. And the Fox Sports guy who was in charge, he introduced like a new on-air talent. And he's like, hey, it's another guy, another Cal State Fullerton grad, who's going to do great. And for whatever reason, that just kind of stuck in my mind. And my whole life, I've never been somebody that like follows the crowd.
Yeah.
And it's not like a punk rock, like rebellious, stick it to the man thing. It's just like, I don't know. I just always march to the beat of my own drum.
Yeah.
And so when I heard him say like another Fullerton guy, I was like, man, is that what it's like out here with like CSUN and Fullerton and USC, where everybody's like, oh, just another one of those guys? Like, I never want to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
And so it was in that moment where I was like, maybe I should think about giving BYU another chance.
Yeah.
So I did some research. I threw another application in, and I got in.
Nowhere.
And so I transferred up to BYU in 2013. And it wasn't until, honestly, man, when I was in classes there, I got into the broadcast program. And again, dude, I was an anchor for our student show and things like that. But it wasn't until I had to take a reporting class where I like had to go get a camera, had to go film stuff and everything, where I was like, dude, this is fun.
Yeah.
And looking back, it's like, I guess all the filmmaking stuff was just inside me. Like, I grew up on a steady diet of music, sports, and movies. Like, I love movies.
Big sports guy.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you can rattle off 3 commentators for 3 different teams is pretty rad.
Yeah, dude. Like,
that says everything.
I don't know, man.
But music as well. And then what was the third one?
Just music, sports, and movies, man.
Movies, yeah.
Yeah. And so I just fell in love with the craft of like getting your camera out, and like those early reporter reels were so bad.
Yeah.
But everything came down to that documentary, dude. My senior capstone with Vern Law and filming, like, it's not a spoiler, but you can go watch it. But one of like the pivotal scenes, or one of our favorite scenes in that documentary was, so Vern Law, he's pushing 100 right now. So this was 10 years ago. So he was in his late 80s when we filmed it. But you see him walking his dog every day. And
Dude,
you
I'm going to see if this is the guy that I didn't meet him, but he was on a podcast with Sean, if that's the same guy. But he's very old.
Yeah.
But he seems healthy.
Yeah, he's super healthy. And you go into his house and everything is like pristine. And then you just go downstairs and it's like you go into like a time capsule. He has all this memorabilia. He has his original Cy Young hanging on the wall. It's like the Sandlot, dude. Like, he has a whole wall of signed baseballs. Yeah, there he is.
No, not the same guy. Sorry. Sorry, everyone that I thought.
Yeah, that's our guy Vern. That's a Cy Young Award from 1960 hanging up on the wall.
That's so cool.
And so we were talking. It was just me and James, and that's his family.
Dude, that's a fridge right there.
Oh, yeah. And that's him and his sweet wife, Vanita, who passed away a while ago.
What a stud. He looks great.
He's a total stud, bro.
Yeah.
So we go down there, and it's just me and James. And I think this might be the moment or something, but he stops. And James had like set his camera down. And then I like tapped him, and then James like whisks the camera back up, and he just gets emotional. And he says, all this stuff doesn't amount to a hill of beans. He's like, none of this stuff matters to me. What really matters to me is my family. And we're just like, bro.
Yeah, all this crazy cool stuff. And it's like,
he's got signed baseballs by Babe Ruth,
yeah,
Sandy Koufax, Jackie Robinson, Hank Aaron, all these guys. A Cy Young Award. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Jeez.
And he's like, none of this amounts to a hill of beans. What matters to me is my family. And it was just like, it was crazy. And so like that moment, man, it was just like, it was humbling.
Yeah.
It's inspiring. But I almost felt like this little itty bitty like responsibility to share this with people.
Yeah.
And so after that, it was just like, I just want to find stories that kind of time has forgotten.
Yeah.
About people that have done cool things.
Yeah.
And hopefully other people get inspired from it.
You probably get that same trend with every story, especially people that are older, especially if they're good people. They've gone through this life and they've accomplished so much, and that ultimately comes down to like how much time they got to spend with their families, and that's what they wish they could do more of, or go back and change that. But like, that's crazy to hear someone like that's like says the same answer, which is a testament to us, right? It's like, cool, we gotta focus on what's most important.
100%, dude.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's amazing.
Yeah. Right around that time, again, growing up in Southern California,
yeah,
I was a skate surf guy. And so I was in, X Games, Taylor Steele, Stacy Peralta, all those videos growing up.
Cool.
And so I loved Eddie Aikau. And Eddie Aikau, so maybe you've seen bumper stickers growing up where it says like Eddie would go or Eddie went. So Eddie Aikau is a legendary surfer, one of the pioneers. especially big wave surfers. So Quicksilver, Billabong, Vans, they have all sponsored over the years the Big Wave Invitational. And so it's like they have on the North Shore like these huge waves that come in January, February, and then they do this ride essentially in honor of Eddie.
Yeah.
So Eddie was a lifeguard, and he saved like thousands of people's lives, never lost one.
Wow. And
to honor his ancestors, him and a group of people on a hokulea is what they called it. It was a small little raft. And they tried to go and navigate the way that they believe the ancestors came to Hawaii, and by using the stars.
Wow.
And they got caught in a really bad storm, and everybody survived but Eddie. And Eddie was there with them, and he was somebody who's like, I'm not going to sit here and let stuff happen to us. I'm going to go try to find help. And
no way.
And he never came back. And then,
wow.
And so the phrase was Eddie would go.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not only saving all these lives, he went to try to save these guys' lives.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So there was a 30 for 30 that Josh Brolin narrated, and it was on Eddie Aikau.
Okay.
And so it was the same time I was like doing the documentary, and I just remember sitting there watching it, and afterwards I was just like, man, I was so moved and so touched by it that I was like, can I do this with my buddies?
Yeah.
Like, can we do this?
Yeah.
And then after this experience with the Vern Law thing, I was like, yeah, dude, we can do this. I can do this. And then ever since then, it's just been a fire that I haven't been able to put out.
And during that time, were you thinking you wanted to direct, or were you always like, I want to just be the EP and make it happen? Or did you want to film? Like, I'm curious, like, when you saw all these different roles, especially as you did your capstone, like, what was the role you liked the most, or at least you figured out?
Honestly, dude, at the time, because it was my capstone, like, I was the director. Mm-hmm. And so like I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like, I was able to ask questions and things. And then with Tradition, the one that you saw is in the theater, I directed that one too. And so I was like, cool, this would be awesome to kind of direct these things. But then I didn't know, dude. I didn't go to film school. Like, I don't know I didn't know really what the roles were.
You were producing and directing. You were just making it happen.
I was just doing whatever it was. And so yeah, man, I was just so this is the Tradition, and the one that you guys saw. Yeah. And so initially I was like, yeah, dude, I love doing this. And then when I got the role at BYUtv as like the producer and stuff, I was like, okay, I got
the job.
I got the job. Let's do it. And during that time also, I've been able to see Jack, James, Zane, and I've been able to see their progression.
Yeah.
And I've seen them grow into phenomenal storytellers.
So cool.
And I want to be able to give them an opportunity to do their thing. And I just want to be able to help them out. Yeah. And so, like, the more opportunities I was able to have to bring those guys on, the more I was like, I felt more joy in watching them do their thing. So now I'm like, sure, like I have other projects that I want to do, but I want to involve those guys and let them do their thing. Like, I'm totally fine having them come to me and say, hey, dude, this would be really cool. What do you think? I give my 2 cents and I say, cool, let me see what I can do. Yeah. And it's, I don't know, it's not like a pride thing. Like, I'm the guy. It's just, ever since I was a kid, I was the weird kid that enjoyed giving gifts. But like, when it came time for birthday or Christmas, dude, I would always feel like a little uncomfortable. And so seeing my buddies like come together as a team, because I don't play sports anymore. I played baseball and football in high school. So I miss that team camaraderie. Yeah. And so being a producer is like being a part of this team. And when you're able to be out there with your guys, with your boys, and you make magic happen, like, I don't know, man, there's nothing cooler than that.
It's not like you're the guy, but you're the coach. I have to imagine you're rounding up the troops and you're helping them succeed and doing what you can to make them successful and do what they want to do, which is cool. And then that's ultimately what a producer does, right? Like, gets the right people in the right place and then lets them fly. I'll just say it again.
As the kids say, let them cook.
Let them cook. Let them cook.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I feel like we cruised through like a lot of your progression. One thing that I was thinking about, have you ever, do you follow Shepmates?
I don't.
You don't? Oh my gosh. I'm going to send you a reel. It's the funniest thing ever. So they actually will they'll like dub over color and I forget the other one.
Oh, play-by-play?
Any commentators, and there's a great moment when you're actually broadcasting and something happens and they're twins and they'll actually lip over what the broadcasters are saying.
Interesting.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. And there's one moment where the guy is like, I won't quote it, I'll have to just send it to you, but it's fun to just kind of like see these broadcasters get caught up in a moment and they do so well in that moment, and they say some of the most amazing things. That's probably what stands out as like a good broadcaster versus not a good broadcaster, is like getting involved, especially as like color or play-by-play, and letting your emotions go and take over and say the right things, because they're expressing what's happening for the viewer and amping it up. So that brings me to a question of just like, what's like your mindset when you're going into a game like that? Are you all over the place, or you think like you're obviously looking at stats? Like, give us a little bit of a behind the scenes of a broadcaster play-by-play person, because I think the color probably is just like, give me what you want and then I'll just kind of be fun and talk about the stories, and you're essentially producing that show. So what is it like when you're doing play-by-play as a broadcaster, because you're doing it with UVU still?
Yeah, and
nice.
I also
you're still already doing
yeah.
That's
so
so cool.
I fill in for BYU as well.
Nice.
Doing softball and volleyball.
Cool.
Great question. So there's two different aspects of play-by-play. It's a little bit different when you're doing it for TV versus radio.
Yeah.
When you're doing it for TV, less is more. And what I mean by that is because people are watching, so you don't have to give them an exact play-by-play description. Yeah. So you just want to tone it down a little bit. Less is more.
Yeah.
But I heard it said best that play-by-play is like packing on for a vacation, right? You pack all this stuff in your suitcase, and then once you actually get there, you're like,
what do I use?
I'm probably gonna wear the same outfit 2 or 3 times a day, and
just wear the swimsuit.
Exactly. But the fact that you prepped it means that you can pick and choose.
Yeah.
And so say, I've got soccer coming up or whatever. So I see, the school that are going to be playing. If I can, I try to reach out to the coaches, try to talk to them, and I'll take down some notes based off what they say about their team or certain players. And then I just look at some stats. I have paper copies with me, and I try to highlight some different things, different notes about players. And I just essentially try to be in the moment.
Cool.
And I let the story unfold. And if something happens, say like Faith Weber, who last year was like the top goal scorer for UVU, she starts off a game with a goal.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, that's a storyline. Boom.
You don't know who's going to have a game either.
No,
some random
absolutely.
person that you didn't even prepare for could be just going off. And you're like,
totally.
What the heck?
And so as a play-by-play guy, it's like you do the prep, but then you have to pick and choose, and you have to feel when is the best time to bring out certain stories, and then when's the best time to set up your color person, because the color person is essentially they're reacting to what's going on.
And is their research more just like understanding who's who?
Yeah. So essentially the play-by-play tells you what's going on,
yes,
and the color guy tells you why or how.
Yeah.
And so it's like, Faith Weber down the left-hand side, she crosses it over, and, Amber Tripp kicks it in. And then I say, dude, that was crazy fast how they were able to score that. What did you see? And then my color guy, Ben, he'll be like, well, if you look on the left-hand side, because Faith was going this way, she was able to suck the defenders this way, which opened up a gap this way for Amber. And so that type of thing. So
I can see like getting in the zone.
Yeah, dude.
I've seen that play before. That's so cool.
Yeah. So essentially if you think about it in a film way, it's the same way like with producing, directing. Like, hey, Jack, tell me what you're seeing. Or they'll come to me like, hey, what are you seeing? Because they're so focused on maybe this little thing that I can give them an outside perspective and vice versa. And then we come together and it's just is what it is.
Do you ever have really awkward moments?
Oh, yeah, dude.
I'm afraid of those happening. It's still to this day, and I haven't had a bad one yet. But like in a podcast, like where it's because I don't cut anything, it just goes.
Okay.
And I'm like so worried for those moments. But have you had like I'd actually love to hear a story of if you have like an awkward moment. And then I have one more question that I want to ask after that about your broadcasting. But yeah, does it ever get like you say something, they're like, I don't know what to say back, and then it's like quiet.
Yes.
Try to like pick them back up.
That is
It's
funny.
live.
You have to be comfortable with silence.
Yeah.
Because as a fan, if you think about like if you're watching a game, you don't want somebody to sit there jabbering the whole time. And so this is from my early days, this story. This one kills me every time. So when I was doing high school sports back home in California for the radio, I was a sideline reporter.
Yeah.
And so my buddy Kyle and the guy Barry, they were up in the booth, and we were doing this game, Golden Valley versus whatever. And I was down on the sideline, and they were up in the booth, and my microphone had its own little receiver up there.
Yeah.
And so what they were going to do is, it was so janky back in the day, dude.
Yeah.
But if I noticed something, I would text my buddy, say, hey, I got something.
Yeah.
He would be like, he'd show Barry. Barry would be like, okay, we're going to toss it down to Brandon Crow on the sideline. So then it's like early on in the first quarter, things are okay.
Yeah.
Then in the second quarter, things kind of start to get a little bit more intense. And Golden Valley, which was the home team, which is the game that we were broadcasting for on the radio, their offensive line was not doing their job. And so then their coach comes off the sideline, and it was like just letting them have it.
Yeah.
And I'm like right there listening to it, and he's like, you guys got to get your assignments. You got to do this. And so then I'm like, hey, I got something. And so I like wander down the sideline, and I turn my back, and they're like, hey, let's go down to Brandon Crow. So I turn on my microphone. I'm like, hey, guys, I was just down on the sideline. Coach Reynolds was really letting his offensive line have it. They were missing their assignment. And I'm like, I hear my voice in the PA.
No way.
Over the speaker in the stadium.
No
and
way.
so I'm
the
like,
coach is like,
and the
you
coach
freaking kidding
the coach is like, who is saying? He's like cussing out. And so I just immediately just like take it off, put it in my pocket, turn around, pretend like nothing's happening.
Yeah.
I look up in the booth, and my boys are scrambling.
Like,
and
how did that happen? You just don't know.
they put my microphone on the same like transmitter as like the PA guy.
Oh, dude, that's so crazy.
Oh yeah, dude. So there's like so many awkward moments.
But luckily the coach wasn't able to pin you out, or you.
No, he had no clue. No, I sat there and I didn't do a hit for like another like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so many great broadcaster stories like that, and they become memes. And the game that I'm thinking of is, I'm curious if you can find it, because I'd love for you to see it. We won't be able to hear it, but it was the Chicago Bulls, and it was last year versus another team, but do Shepmates, SHEPMATES, Chicago Bulls. The broadcasters are insanely good. The play-by-play guy is really good, and then the color guy is just going off on how amazing this moment, because it was a crazy moment in the game. But I love those stories, or I love listening to them, and so to actually talk to someone that's been in that is interesting. And so, have you ever said anything that, or not you, but maybe your color analyst had said something that's like, you know, there's a lot of times when you mean one thing and it sounds like you said another thing, or you said the wrong word. Like, I'm trying to think of better examples, but have you ever said anything off that you're just like, oh crap, I shouldn't have said that? Because that's where these Shepmates guy comes in. They'll actually like do these moments, and they'll get awkward, and they're like, yes. So these guys actually, so he's the play-by-play, and then the color guy's in the back, and so the Bulls hit this three. He's the color guy. I wish you could hear it. I'll make an Instagram teaser of this so you can see it. He's like, oh Lord. Oh, it's so good. Can you turn your volume on just so he can hear it? I'm really harping on this, but I'm not kidding you, dude. I've watched this 100 times. It's down there on the right. Bang, bang, bang. Okay, here it goes. We're pretty late into the podcast, so no one cares at this point. Because you can tell when what team they're actually rooting for, and they're totally rooting for the Bulls. Elizabeth, I'm coming, baby.
And there's those two guys that are actually saying stuff?
No.
So they're
literally just Instagram guys.
But they're just mimicking.
They're just mimicking.
Oh,
it's
okay.
like
Got it,
really
got it,
good
got it,
when
got
you
it.
think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because they kill it. It looks like they're saying it. So anyway, I follow these guys now because of this video, and they interviewed the color and play-by-play because those guys were like, I saw your video go before I even saw anything else of our commentating, like
So
the highlights. So these guys have blown up, but they're really fun. Anyway, I'm a huge fan because I love watching sports, and I actually love listening to the commentators. But then it's like, I love what you said about you pack all this stuff and then you just kind of use what is available in the game.
Or what's relevant.
Exactly. And then who's going to actually go off, and you don't know when something's like that's going to happen. And that was my original question, which is like losing yourself in the moment. And what is that like when you're in a moment that's like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And do you just speak? Does it just come out? Like this guy where he's like, oh Lord, Elizabeth, I'm coming.
Yeah, totally, dude. I was calling a BYU softball series earlier this year in April, and they were playing Utah of all schools. Yeah. But dude, like, two of the craziest games I've ever seen. BYU was down. They were down like 6 the night on Thursday night, and they were down to their final like 3 outs, and BYU came back in the final inning and won. And then the next night they were down by even more. Dang. And they came back and they won. And like I was this
is unreal.
In the call, I like, because when you're in the moment, you want to make sure that what you say is clear and concise. Mm-hmm. And then you just, for me, again, going back to my guys growing up, what I love that they did most is they let the crowd and the atmosphere take it away. Because like, you're going to get emotions, you're going to get chills just listening to the crowd go crazy. But I was just in the moment, dude. Like I said, Agbayani hits a walk-off home run for the Cougars. And I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah. This is ridiculous. Yeah. And then I literally just sat back in my chair, and I just sat there.
And those are the best moments.
And I just let them do their thing. But yeah, dude, it's draining because it's like you're in the moment, and then you're just like letting this raw emotion come out, and then you just like have to like just let it go once the broadcast is over.
Yeah, and not be too like overpowering.
Yes.
And like, because then at the same time, like you think of all these great plays that in history, right? And a part of that story is the commentators.
Oh, 1,000%.
And it becomes, their voice becomes pretty recognizable.
Yeah, like my guy Vince Scully, when Hank Aaron, who is a hero of mine, when he hit 715 and he broke Babe Ruth's home run record. Here he is. He said what he says. If you go back and you listen to it, he says, "What a moment for baseball! Yeah, a black man getting a standing ovation in the Deep South after he's round. It's just like that will forever be a part of that call. And it's like sometimes these moments, they transcend sports, and they're more than that. And the best broadcasters will be able to recognize that, say as little as possible, and then just step away and let the moment do its thing.
And how cool to like have one of those moments. Like all I'm thinking about is John Stockton sends the Utah Jazz to the NBA Finals. What was his name? Harvey? No. Do you remember who that broadcaster was for the Utah Jazz?
I know.
He's passed away now. I forgot his name, but I love sports radio, and obviously being from Utah, that's like one of the intros that they use. So yeah, that's cool. I didn't expect to get so much into sports broadcasting, but I think that's really fun. And I think it's also a route that a lot of people could end up taking if they go down this like film route. They might just end up being a great speaker. So, and you have a good voice too, as I'm listening. I'm like, okay.
Well, thanks, dude.
You're definitely made for radio.
Face for radio too.
That's not what I meant, but yeah, we'll take it.
Me and my buddy, our early podcast was Too Ugly for TV podcast.
Too Ugly for TV. Way cool. And this is actually the first time I've ever done a podcast. And I've always thought about it. And then once I got this space, I was like, this is cool because it's a podcast for filmmakers. And so it's got to be well produced. I don't want it to be like in a corner of a room. I wanted it to be cool. So we started doing it, and it's been fun. And it's been really cool to hear different people's stories. But I want to just now go into like, where now that you've got this awesome gig, it's essentially, I'd say, your dream job, plus you're also broadcasting. Yeah. So where do you see all this headed in the next 5 to 10 years? Like, are you on the same route? Do you go to the next step? Like, what does that look like for you? Have you thought about it?
Whew, good question. I have thought about it, and I don't know what the direction like the BYUtv is going to take, just because I feel like things change in the media industry, as you know,
Yeah.
so quickly. And what I would like to happen, like if I had a genie or something, would be for me to still be involved with these big stories. But I would love to open up, like we're seeing now with all these streaming platforms. It's like an ESPN original films or or Disney Plus original. I want to be able to do that for BYUtv.
Cool.
And open up like a BYUtv films and be able to be a part of that. Cause like I said, I love music. Like there's music documentaries I want to do. There's more sports documentaries I want to do. And I would just love to be able to create a space where other people we can just make cool stories, man. And we can just help tell stories that uplift and inspire. And I would love for that to happen over there. I don't know. I have a contact who used to be at NFL Films, and those are some of the best things that I watched growing up. And so if there's a possibility that maybe down the road something pops up there based off of all the stuff I've been able to do there, like, or here at BYU, I mean, that'd be amazing.
So when you're in, this is kind of backtracking a little bit, but when you're in these, because I could just tell you love this so much. And when you're on a set and you're interviewing someone, you're bringing a story to life. What is that like for you? Are you like super giddy? Are you in the zone? Like, are you kind of like super quiet and you're just like, this is awesome? Or are you way involved? What is it like for you? I feel like you got to be giddy.
Yeah, dude.
I can feel it.
Yeah, I am. And like, it's just, there's been a couple times for sure where like when the moment happens and I'm like looking around, I'm like, bro, is this for real?
Yeah.
Like, is anybody else realizing this?
He's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
This is just a guy.
No, dude, it's just cool, dude. Like, yeah, absolutely. I get stoked. I get in the moment, but then at the same time, it's like I have to subdue it.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to, freak everybody out. But the best is always after the fact. Like once we wrap up and once the people take off their microphone, I'll always go over to Zane or to Jack or Tim or whoever it is, and I'll just like hug them, and I'm like, bro, dude, when he said this or when he said that, and like, yeah, bro, yeah, like it's the best, man.
Got it.
It's so cool.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's amazing, and I agree with you 100%. My favorite, as much as I love to create videos and whatever, especially shoot them, I get in the zone when I'm actually shooting. Like, you just are focused, and then when you're done and the crew's like wrapping up, it's like, yes, especially when you've gotten amazing content, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, and I love that feeling. And then you go to dinner with everybody, and that's the best part.
Yep. It's just like when you go to a movie with your buddies, and you like just have such a good time, and you go to get burger or shake after or whatever, and you're just talking about the movie, and you're just talking about, oh dude, that was so cool. Same thing with these things, man. Like, and for me, I always try just to stay grounded, man. Just because I've been on the other side, and I've worked, in a cubicle position. I've worked at a place where like they literally track your hours, track your minutes, and like I had supervisors that are like, hey, you haven't moved your mouse in 5 minutes. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I've been in those situations, and so when I'm on a set and I'm sitting there and I'm listening to a 90-year-old 4-time Olympic medal winner tell us a story about his life and how he never gave up and how he ran in the Olympics with borrowed shoes. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, man, like, thank you, Lord. Like, this is so cool. It's always so humbling. And I always try to just to give thanks where thanks is given. And it's all up to him. Yeah. And so many moments, bro, where it's just so many miracles on these trips, on these shoots. And I just try to put myself in a situation where I can be ready and I can be prepared to notice the gems when they come.
So cool. Yeah, I can, like, gratitude, man. Like, last podcast, have you ever met Luke Johnson?
Yeah. His cubicle's like a hallway down
because you guys are both EPs. That's so cool. Man, that was one of the things that really spoke to me. Was like, it's so, when we're like young and we want things, and it's like, oh, and then we're actually where we are now, and it's like, it's happening. It's so easy to get lost in it and just not care. And really, like, if you take a step back, it's like, oh my gosh, I am where I wanted to be 10 years ago. I would be like pinching myself to 100%. Be in this position. and we're here, and it's just, we just take it for granted. So it's cool that you take those moments to like really let it sink in.
I try to, man. Like I love Walter Mitty, and me, Zane, and Jack, and we call them ghost cat moments.
Yeah.
And so it's like, dude,
put the camera
down and just be in the moment.
Yes, I love those. I don't know if I could not take that picture, but yes, be in the moment. That's cool. Well, I want to take a hard left real quick before we wrap up, because that was a very positive, inspiring moment we just had. What's the worst thing, and this is putting you on the spot, what's like the worst thing that's happened as a producer, the biggest problem you've had to solve, one that like stands out to you as a producer in any moment? It's like, oh my gosh, that's a problem. And then how did you get around it?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm really putting you on the spot.
I feel like I've just been like spewing. So hopefully what I've been saying has been making sense.
It's been really good.
Okay.
I promise.
There's two things, one incident and one generic thing. Remind me about the generic thing, but I'll start with the incident. This happened last summer when I was with Jack. We were filming out in Orlando, filming a story for UCF, University of Central Florida, and it's a baseball story about essentially this family, two brothers in particularly, Kyle and Ryan Bono, and they legit had like this Field of Dreams set up. Like Kyle bought this piece of land, has his house on it, and he has this field in the backyard that he's turned into a little baseball field. And then they have like this batting cage, and his brother caught for him when he was a pitcher at UCF. So they both played together.
Cool.
And Ryan at the time had just finished up coaching his son, Landon, in the Little League World Series. They won the Little League World Series.
Very cool.
And so it was this super cool story. But they're hard-nosed. They're just salt of the earth people. And they're making an honest living by trying to pursue baseball. Mm-hmm. But the brothers, what they do is they have their own like HOA landscaping business. And they go out and they wake up early in the morning in the Florida humidity. They go out and they landscape and they mow lawns and do all sorts of stuff. Wow. So that they can come home and be there to coach or to be with their kids. Cool. And they also do lessons. And so we were interviewing Ryan and had this really cool setup. Yeah, there's Mickey, there's Kyle.
Nice, Ben.
Good pull, bro. Good pull. Yeah, so it's a whole family here. That's the sister Kim. And we'll see if we can get to Ryan's setup. But Ryan, we set him up on the outside, looking into the batting cage, and Jack was just asking questions. Like there was nothing nothing malicious about it. And there it is. That's Ryan. That's our set. That was one of my favorite setups that we had.
So cool.
But yeah, Jack just asked him, and so he was just like, you guys really get after it, and you guys really have to grind. Yeah. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if there's a backstory, but Ryan didn't really appreciate it, I don't think. And so he was answering questions, and then he just stops, he pauses, and he just goes, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. If you guys are done, I'm done. And so then out of nowhere, so then Jack was like, okay, well, and he goes, and so he's like, Brandon, do you have any questions? And I just said like
he was kind of like, I'm done if you guys are done, but like he was really just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So don't ask me another question.
And so then I said like a quick prayer, and it like just the moment of panic like set in. And so the only thing I could think of, and again, inspiration from above, was like we had filmed them playing a little mini baseball wiffle ball game with their kids the day before. And so Jack said, Brandon, do you have anything? And I said, hey, Ryan, I said,
pressure.
Yes. I just said, hey, dude, we're grateful that we're able to be here telling the story. I just noticed how much joy you guys had yesterday being with your kids. And I saw your daughter. She had like one of the prettiest swings out there. She like crushed the ball. How much joy do you have in watching her play? And then it was like things melted. And then he was like, oh, dude, I love watching my daughter play. And then we're able to get like another 10 minutes out of him.
Wild, man.
But it was crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take credit for that. It was just like, it was my Hail Mary, bro.
Yeah.
And like, cause I'd never been in that situation before where somebody just immediately just stops and like where I get a physical reaction.
Yeah. It might flush.
Yeah. And so the only thing I could think of was like family. Yeah. Talk.
Yeah. That's the most important. Full circle.
So luckily, and everything was good. He gave us a hug and everything afterwards, but I just don't know.
You just don't know still to this day, like
still
what happened.
No clue.
Interesting.
But
that's cool. Like that's producer, man. You're just putting out fires to have like Jack turn to you and you're just like, and it's on you now. and he throws you the ball this time. That's cool, man.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe all the positions that I've been in, being on live TV or whatever, have helped.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Clutch. Yeah, you have that clutch reaction to something that.
But yeah, dude. But the story came out great. But the second part of the question,
it's a problem though, that you turned into a solution.
Yeah, I mean,
that's cool.
When I was DJing, like, you had to troubleshoot all the time.
Yeah.
I remember when I was DJing a party one time, and the place was getting so wild that like some drunk homies bumped into my turntable, my coffin, and it like unplugged the music. And so it was like a worst nightmare. And so yeah, everyone's like, "Come on, boo!"
Like it's
and
your fault.
So then I like scrambled, plug it in, and like I just hop on the mic, and I was like, "Yo, you guys are partying so hard, you cut the power out. Let's pick it back up. Let's go!" And everyone's like, "Yeah."
That's so cool, man.
But yeah, dude, that's what you have to do. Like you gotta troubleshoot. The obstacle
cool.
is the way, man.
Well, that's why you got the job, man. You were made for it.
Well, I appreciate
you can
that.
come in clutch like that. That's pressure, and that's scary. Especially, he looked a little intimidating. Like he's a big guy.
He is.
So anyway, that was the hard left. Did you want to? What was the other?
Oh, the other one is it's a learning act that I'm sure you've learned, but it's just learning how to balance different personalities and different ways that people like things and how they operate.
Yeah.
And so you can be locked in with your crew, and then if you sprinkle in some other different moving parts, you're like, oh, what worked for this person doesn't work for this person. So then you got to figure out, okay, how does this person like to work? Do they need more communication? Do they like communication up front, or do they like it right before, or all this stuff? And so that is a learning thing, and sometimes it's a trial by fire, and I had to learn through failing, and I had to have a heart-to-heart with the director early on, and they're like, look, dude, this didn't really work out for me. And so I was like, thank you. Like, if I don't know that, then I'm not going to be able to be better for you.
Yeah.
And so like those hard conversations were meaningful for sure.
Yeah. And that makes me think of like selling, like we're always selling ourselves, right? Trying to like get the next gig or whatever, and failing in those pitches over and over and over. And I still remember the first time I had to pitch my services, and it was so bad, and I didn't get the gigs. It was so awful. But now it's like you get to a point where, and this comes with experience, a lot of these like problems that you're solving on the fly is like you have so much experience of failing and like not doing it right that things just start to happen. And it's the same thing with me. Like I'm teaching these guys how to be in a call with a client that you're trying to pitch a high ticket item or whatever, and you got to overcome objections on the fly that you don't expect, and it just kind of comes out eventually. So experience, lots of trial and error, and continuing to do the same thing over a long period of time. Ultimately, we hope it's what you want to do, right? So the last thing I just want to get into is advice. Someone wants to go be a broadcaster. Someone wants to be an EP. I just remembered another thing I wanted to ask you, and maybe this is part of like where you want to go, but also the advice that you want to give is, Cheer, and like for, that documentary Cheer.
Yeah.
What's the guy's name?
Greg Whiteley.
Greg Whiteley, and he does the football one as well.
Yeah. Last Chance You.
Last Chance You. Kind of see if you can tie this together. The advice that you would give someone to get to the point of EPing and telling stories the way that you are, but then also like extending that into the future for you, is that something you would want to do?
Oh yeah.
You're not doing it through BYU. You're actually out there finding stories. And I don't want to like jeopardize your job by saying that, but this is like 10 years in the future, but also like going back in time. And what would you do? What would you tell that person to do to get to this point and then beyond?
Man.
It's a very like question.
Yeah, totally. I feel like so many people invested and poured into me growing up that like I tried to just pay it forward.
Cool.
And so like I remember a couple of the phrases that I try to live by, that I try to like help other people live by. Kurt Sandoval was an ABC 7 sports reporter that I grew up watching.
Cool.
And crazy situation where my dad ran into him at the mall, told him about me, and I reached out to him, gave him, after my dad got contact info. So I shadowed him for a day.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the rules that he had was, if you don't know, ask, and if you do know, tell. And so what I like to just tell people is, if you don't know, ask, try to figure it out. And if you have a desire, if you have something like an idea, go for it. Like, just do it and figure it out. Try to put yourself in every situation possible, because you don't know what you're going to feel like clicks until you do it. Like, I didn't know that, storytelling in a visual sense was going to click for me when I was wanting to, have a microphone and talk about sports.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't know. So one of the advice that I would give would be, just do it. Yeah. Simple, cliche as Nike, whatever it is, but just go out there and do it. Just make it happen.
Yeah.
And then I think this is a common theme that Jack and the guys have talked about, but find a group of people that you feel inspired by, that you feel like you guys have the same kind of collective goal, and just have fun together.
Yeah.
Just do stuff together. Surround yourself with a team, and
relationships,
man. And it's not necessarily about like trying to have a transactional relationship or anything. It's just be authentic, just be you.
Yeah.
And stay true to who you are. I think that's what the world craves.
Yeah.
And it's not being different for the sake of being different. It's just be you.
Yeah.
Like, stick to your strengths and don't try to be somebody that you're not. And if you follow your internal compass, it'll lead you the right way. And if you go along bumps along the way, again, obstacle is the way. Those are learning experiences.
Yeah.
And again, for me, bringing it back to the faith thing, because this is who I am.
Yeah.
Get on your knees and pray, and then get on your feet and slay.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. I was pretty stoked.
Yeah.
I came up with that. I was like, oh, dude, that's way smarter than what I am.
Cool.
But that's something I like to try and think about, is just, get out there and get after it.
Cool.
And going back to the Greg Whiteley thing, like, it'd be super cool. Like, he actually came and spoke to us at BYUtv
Really?
About a year and a half ago.
So cool.
And so he just got done doing the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader thing.
Yeah.
And then he was like working on the Red Sox one that just came out this year.
Yeah.
And just seeing a guy like that be in that position, I mean, if there is an opportunity somewhere down the road, 10 years down the road, whatever it is, I would love to be able to do something like that.
And is it like a Netflix gig that he has?
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar to what you're doing, just on a different platform.
Correct.
Where Netflix is funding and BYU's funding yours.
Yep.
So you're already doing it.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, thanks,
keep
man.
doing it and keep being awesome, and you're gonna we'll get there.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So I didn't mean to keep you from telling your story. Was there anything else you wanted to go into as far as the Greg Whiteley thing?
No, he was a cool dude.
Yeah.
And he just kept it real. And that's another motto, I guess. Surround yourself with cool people that inspire you. If you don't know, ask. If you do know, tell. Get on your knees and pray, and then get up and slay, and then keep it real.
Yeah.
And stay authentic. Those are like my 5 things. But yeah, he kept it real, and he believed in himself.
Yeah. And
he just worked at it, and he carved his way. He did his own documentaries, New York Doll, and all that stuff, which helped put him in a position where he had that backup where he's like, hey, I've done these. And the people are like, okay, let's throw this out there. See if you can do this. And then he made that something that people are like, oh, this is actually really cool.
Yeah.
So then they gave him a second chance. And so
that's so cool.
Yeah.
And it kind of like that big question I asked, it ties all together with the advice, and then going into what you've already been doing, which is those 5 things. And I think most importantly, you're an awesome person. And then you get to where you are. And it sounds like Greg Whiteley is that same person that's just great. And everyone probably loves him. And they're like, we need to get him more opportunities. And so I imagine your advice to other people is still what you're going to live by. And it'll get you as far, I think, as you want. Not that you need inspiration from me, but
I take any inspiration, man.
Keep going on that same path, man. It's super cool to hear you're doing exactly what you want to be doing, and I just hope it continues to grow and get bigger for you. So
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Like when you reached out, I was like, bro, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like, cause I just feel, the imposter syndrome, because it's like,
I feel bad asking people, because it is. I would feel the same way, where it's like, I don't know. Like, we don't know each other. We just know of each other. And Jack was like, you got to get Brandon on. And Zane too. And James like, you got to get Brandon on. He's so fun. And so I wanted to get you on, and glad you said yes. But it is a little bit hard to get people to be like, oh, shoot, I don't want to do this, especially for us people that are behind the camera, right?
Yeah.
Not usually wanting to be on camera. But my hope is that, yeah, this is your story. You're able to now have it online and have it forever and document it. So
that's awesome, man. I appreciate that.
for sure. Well, thank you for taking the time to be on this. I super appreciate it. Super grateful that you actually came in and did it with me. And now we're homies for life, man. We're there.
Yeah, we are, bro.